well, it wouldn't hurt if there was, you know.
Yeah.
This is my dad with his horse Rex, and he's taking him through his tricks. Or he had Mother make a movie of this, and they were down in the lot here over the house. And they had this Victrola, I guess it was electric, and they would play it, and certain songs would go with certain steps that the horse took. And they had several tunes that they played, which each step was something different. But I'm sure that this isn't the ones that go with the steps, and I don't think anybody knows anymore but my sister. She probably would, but she's not here, so.
These were the same records that they
Right,
used for it,
these
weren't
were
they?
the same records. Some of them were broke, but these are the same records. Even we have the record player upstairs, but I know it doesn't work. Because he drops his hat, and the horse is supposed to pick it up, which he did deliberately. He bought this horse probably at Red Oak in about 1944, 1945, along in there, I'm not sure. And he was about 3 years old, I think, at the time. And I don't think my dad ever had a riding horse that he didn't do a trick or two with him. But this one, he especially did do a lot of training with him. And I don't, he never did this much with another one either. Just the time he got this horse, there was, Palominos were very dominant. And he was always kind of disappointed that he hadn't got a Palomino, but at that time, his pocketbook didn't fit their prices on their Palomino horses, so he took this one. I don't know what he paid for this one, but he was a little bigger than a Palomino. He was a pretty good sized horse, and he was kind of a lug to handle when you tried to train him. And a lot of work went into this. And this is, he's picking up his blanket. I think he's gonna probably go to bed. He sometimes got in trouble. He sometimes didn't do just what he was supposed to do. Now he's saying his prayers. Now to bed. Okay. There was a lot of work went into that, as I said before. Dad used to get in from milking his cows. He milked a lot of cows. They had a milking machine in later years, but then he'd go down after supper in the summertime and run him through his routine. If he didn't do good, he'd probably turn around and do it over again. But I often wondered how he had the energy to do that. Because he might have worked in the hayfield all day, but he still went through his routine almost every night. And there he is, sleeping again. This is a box that he'd made, and it's 12 inches square on top. It's all 4 feet on there and goes clear around, which is kind of a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. he goes up on this teeter-totter. It's also only 12 inches wide. He can teeter-totter himself. Now he's teeter-tottering with Dad, and I'm sure Dad's had a few falls. I don't know, even with his, I don't think I would have ever trusted him. Dad used him for working cattle and everything too. He wasn't just a fun horse. Yeah, are you
It's recording.
okay? He walks. Dad has this here stand on the other end and has him walk across that plank and then turn around in the middle of it. This is what do you call it?
Oh, the last. Last Mohican?
No.
The end of the trail?
Yeah, there you go. There now he's doing his stuff. There, he's having a handshake. This is my sister Letha, and she did take the horse through his routine several times. Dad quite often went, not too often, but was asked to go to Grizzle Reunion, and he went to Red Oak, I think, at some of their celebrations, and Henderson Rodeo, and he played Exorbitant one time too. And I don't know if Letha put Rex through the routine then or not. I can't remember, but she did, because they didn't much care about his routine unless it was a woman doing it. So whatever that meant, I don't know. They wanted to, and one of his biggest problems, they said, was he was so slow, but I don't know. He wasn't really that slow. It just
Slow with the routine.
no, it just took him a while to do it, and I don't know whether they thought people got bored with it or what.
I see. How old was Letha when this was taken?
Oh, she must have been in high school, or maybe through high school pretty much. 1955, 54, no, that was when they sold him. She probably was about the last 2 years of school. I can't remember. Now this is a team of horses my dad had and trained. This is my granddad, Negly. That'd be his father, my dad's father.
What was his name?
Isaac Van Dorn, which my grandson was named after him.
Here's the barn.
Yeah. And Granddad's pulling the hay up, which usually was Letha's job, or my job. Letha usually got it. And this is um, Paul's, my husband's horses, and that's my nephew Danny Rasmussen, and the dog we used to have, Buster. This is Susan Buss riding one of Dad's horses after he sold Rex. He got this horse from Alan DeKay. She's the daughter of Neil Buss. They knew them from church over at Pilot Grove. I'm sure they had Sunday dinner there, and he always took him out to show him his horse. Trix? Is that Trix? Or probably. It's a pretty thing. But she wasn't as reliable as Rex. Dad sold Rex when he was about 12 years old, I think at the Orient Sale Barn. And his equipment and everything. I think he got about $600 for him, which wasn't worth near all the effort he had in it, but it was a pretty good price for a horse too. Dad never understood why Mom always wanted to take pictures of family. He thought livestock was much better. This is at the Sydney Rodeo. And I can't tell you what year, but it was in the early 50s. And this particular year, Roy Rogers had his Palomino horses there. Mother sat right behind this fellow with his hat, and it's always been a joke to the family that she was taking pictures of this hat. Sydney Rodeo was almost a ritual with my dad. He really enjoyed going to that. I don't think I'd care to do that very much. I prefer sitting in the rocking chair drinking coffee. Now these are Roy Rogers' Palomino horses. I don't know if he was there or not, but I'm almost sure he was. I really am not sure where this is. Probably California. Dad took these films and put them all on a large reel so it wouldn't be such a chore to show them. And maybe a little later I can tell for sure. And my sister went with them, so she would know. I was married at the time, so I didn't go with them, but this must be California, although Mother was in Texas once, and I hope I can differentiate between the two pictures.
Not a very good picture.
No, it isn't a good picture. Mom had trouble with her camera quite often, and later years she got a light,
Floodlight.
no, light
Meter.
meter, yeah, that helps some. Dad's brother and his sister both lived in California, and at the time they were there, his parents lived there too. His parents lived at San Bernardino, and his brother, and then his sister lived at North Hollywood.
His sister would be Greta
Right?
Bordner.
Greta Bordner. Mm-hmm.
And then his brothers would be.
Charles Negly.
Okay.
The music's prettier than the scenery. At that time, that was pretty fascinating, though, to see the ocean. I'm sure
I'm sure.
Mother and Dad thought that was something, and probably if they were alive to see this, it would still mean a lot more to them than it does to anyone. The first time Dad went to California to visit his folks. Now that's Charles's stepdaughter, Judy.
So that would definitely make this California then.
Right, this is California. I was sure it was, but ocean looks like ocean sometimes on a camera. Now this is San Bernardino Hospital. Now I worked there when I was out in California, and I waited there. I lived with Grandma and Grandpa Negly until Paul came back from the service in 1946. He came in, I think, January the 3rd, or January the 3rd, and he called me, and I went down to I went down to his aunt's. Armilda Schulman. She lived at Hermosa Beach at the time, and he had came up there. In fact, I think they had went down to Long Beach and picked him up. Her husband, Uncle Bob, had went down to the Long Beach the day before, or the day he came in, really, and thinking that he would be on that ship, but they didn't have. They didn't look for the K, I guess, for Carwell, and so he didn't find him. So then Paul, when he got released, came up to their house. I don't just exactly remember how it was, but anyway, then I went down from San Bernardino to Hermosa Beach the next day, and he met me in Los Angeles bus terminal there, which was a pretty big place at that time. This is my Aunt Rita's home in North Hollywood. And this evidently is, I'm sure it isn't Aunt Greta's dog. I know that. I don't know just where this is. No, this is Uncle. And he had my homes mixed up. Maybe this is Uncle Charles's home. I bet it, yeah, I think it is. When I saw it, the trees had grown sky high, so. Maybe somebody will come out of the house.
You don't know for sure.
When Dad went back there on this trip, he always got up so early, and he would go out look around before anybody ever got up. And he went down to a dairy. Now this is my Uncle Charles. He had a Hudson. That's a Hudson car.
Oh, it's a neat looking car.
It was his pride and joy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it always looked that shiny.
I suppose.
This is at Knott's Berry Farm. They went on a tour of that when they were there. I'm sure it's considerable different now, but at that time this was the way it was. I also got to go there. Paul's aunt and uncle took me there. That's Granddad, my granddad, I think, in the jacket up there. Evidently they're panning for gold here. I think Charles and my Uncle Charles took them there, but I don't recognize any of the family. This might be mountains there in San Bernardino. I'm sure that that's where it is. My sister probably will correct me.
Are they? They're not in an airplane, are they?
No, but
Just
they're
up high on the hills.
I think Mother's taking the picture out of the car window. She did that. No, that's Mother
Maybe
there.
they went on a cable ride or something.
Could have been, or they could have been just up high.
Yeah.
Still at loss to know where I'm at. This is Charles's again. But I don't believe it's his house. I think it must be grandmother and granddad's house.
Is that?
No, I'm not sure. I was never to the house that my grandparents lived in at this time. When the folks were there, they moved after I left. There's my grandmother, Uncle Charles's daughter, Judy. Now this is Aunt Rita, and this is their car. This was in North Hollywood. And this is Aunt Rita again. The family was sitting out in the patio, but I don't know if we can make them out or not. Well, that was Aunt Rita. At that time, everybody tried to run when they seen the camera on them. It's too bad they didn't stop and pose, because it would have been really nice.
Years later, we'd have all appreciated it.
Yeah. Aunt Rita's husband was in the Navy. Uncle Charles was in the Army, in the Aleutians for 4 years. This is Aunt Rita again. I don't think she knows that her picture's being taken. probably, yeah.
Housing in her flower bed, probably.
See, now she knows. Now this is Grandma and Granddad's home. Grandmother always liked California. She thought it's a beautiful place to live. They moved back there just before the war. Granddad worked in the air depot there all during the war. In fact, he probably wouldn't have gotten work had it not been for the war, because they wouldn't hire anyone over 50 years old. He was antique. He was in search of a job, and then when the war broke out, then he didn't have any problems. And we used to call him Pappy. Now this is at our place. That's our barn. And cattle that Paul had in a feedlot. They probably are getting ready for market, or getting ready to sell them shortly, because Mom usually managed to come up and take a picture of them.